this computer. And there we go.
Okay, so we did our presentation on This Book is Gay by Huno Dawson. The topic that we chose was discrimination in the workplace by me, Aiden Metz, and Lindsay Holmes. Uh-oh. Okay, so the summary, oh, I can't see. Okay, for the summary, This Book is Gay, again by Huno Dawson, was created for everyone regardless of their gender or sexual orientation. This book serves many purposes, from informing individuals about how to come out, how to feel about one's body, where to seek help if needed, and to make sure the reader knows that they matter. And I found this direct quote off the end of the book, and so I thought I should share it, but it says, "You will be entertained, you will be informed, but most importantly, you will know that however you identify or don't, you are exceptional. You matter, and so does this book." So again, the topic that we chose was discrimination in the workplace. And discrimination in the workplace is an ongoing problem that individuals who are LGBTQ plus face every day, which disrupts their way of living and being themselves. So now, how does this issue affect ourselves or our family? I'll go first. To keep it short and simple, I've actually never faced any discrimination, as I've only worked one job. And for my family as well, they have never faced any discrimination either while working.
So I've only worked one job too, so I've never really experienced discrimination. My mother has, since she's a woman, so it's different for her.
Uh, I worked a couple jobs, and the only thing I faced was just age discrimination. I'm not really open about my sexuality most of the time. Um, so that never really plays a role in like the discrimination I face. And this is one of the solutions that we found in the book. It was the Title VII federal law. It basically protects the rights of citizens against discrimination, but based on their race, their color, religion, sex, national origin, sexuality, and many other factors. In This Book is Gay, Juno Dawson doesn't mention it directly, but she does quote, or she doesn't quote it, she hints at it by saying it means legally you cannot be discriminated against when applying for a job, in education, when buying or renting property, or when accessing public services. For example, doctors or dentists. There is a major downside that relying on this could lead to. Recently, many laws and landmark cases have been overturned, leading to more discrimination, as well as federal employees are not protected by this law. One of the landmark cases that has been overturned recently, I forget the name of, like, off the top of my head, but it was the Christian website designer, basically protecting her right to not serve same-sex couples. So that is a way that you could be discriminated against now. But if this does happen to you, you could just speak with your company's HR department directly. And the human resources is an extremely common practice in most corporate locations. One of their jobs is to settle disputes between employees, help individuals with discrimination, and hand out advice to settle problems. There are many benefits with reaching out to HR. However, there are also some cons. For example, your business might not even have an HR in general. But if this happens, then you can just seek out outside mediation.
All right, so get mediation from an outside agency. The one that we picked was the Lamba Legal, is an outside agency that helps with mediation. This agency is a legal advocacy group that works to secure and protect the civil rights of the LGBTQ plus individuals. They also address the issues related, such as discrimination in schools. Mediation can be a helpful way to resolve disputes or conflicts because it allows both parties to have a say in the outcome and can often result in a mutual agreeable solution. It can also be less expensive and it can also help to reduce stress and anxiety.
So in conclusion now, which option do we think is best for each of us? Personally, I think the best option that will work best for me would depend on what job, depending on what kind of job I'm working. So for example, if I was a federal employee, the Title VII law would not protect me. I'm pretty sure I am protected under another kind of law. I don't remember the name of that though. But again, if I didn't work for the federal government, then I would probably say the Title VII law would work best because again, its purpose is to protect everyone at any workplace, regardless of their sex, race, sexual orientation, etc. But even if I don't personally experience workplace discrimination, it does not mean that it isn't happening to someone else. And overall, I am glad that there is a law made for situations like our topic.
And personally, for me, I believe that the Title VII law as well is most likely the best option. I'm most likely not going to work in a government, I'm not going to work a federal job, so I'm going to be protected under Title VII, pretty much no matter what. But if I don't want it to go that far, then I'll reach out to HR first. Like, these options are basically just like steps to follow if you ever face discrimination in the workplace.
Okay, so the best option for me that I believe would work well in this situation would be Human Resources Department. This area is specified for the individual workplace that people work at, no matter where they are working or the level of the work they do. While the others do the work at the workplace and also guarantee safety for us, I believe that HR would be best for every scenario of discrimination, as this would hold every person accountable for their actions. So, This Book is Gay is a great book for anyone who wants to become a better ally to the LGBTQ plus community or who is looking to better understand their own identity. Discrimination in the workplace is a serious issue that can have a significant impact on individuals and their careers. It's important for employers to take steps to prevent discrimination and harassment by working together. We can create a workplace culture that values diversity and promotes equality for all.
And that is it.
Good. So I'll tell you just a couple of things. And this is good for me to know too. Like I said, I'd not earlier before we jumped on and recorded that I've not actually done a deliberative forum online through Zoom before. So it's kind of harder to figure out like the turn taking thing. So this was a good like opportunity for me to learn too as an instructor how this works. No, y'all did good. No, y'all did good in terms of like, here's the information. The only thing that you really missed, and we'll talk about this in a bit. The only thing you really missed was that as you go over each of the topics, you discuss the topic amongst yourselves. So it's not really just like, I present this, I present this, I present this, because how you did it was very formal, traditional like presentation style. And what's different with a deliberative forum is that you say somebody takes on, it's like, here's what we're talking about, here's the solution. Now you all talk about the solution. And then at the end, you come together and be like, well, this is kind of the decision that I would make based on some of the stuff that we talked about. So it's getting in conversation more is what the deliberation part of it is. Excuse me. And then adding research in from outside sources as you kind of talk about each of the topics, like, well, here's what I found about this, and here's what I found about that, so that it's not so much here's what we are, but here's some stuff that I found individually that I want to talk about too. And y'all did a really good job about the like, yeah, I've never experienced this directly, but this is how it could be, right? This is why it's a problem, kind of a stuff. So you did a good job with that. Is there, thinking about that now, is there anything that like across the like three um solutions that you came up with, is there anything that you would like add in terms of like this is kind of something that could be a thing, or this is something that Juno's even talking about in the book? Outside of just the one topic of this, is there something that you could connect with um in terms of okay, well, here we're talking about workplace discrimination, but is there anything else that could like help define that or help us understand why it happens, type of stuff, from this or from other research? You can even go back to like the packbacks that we did, all those resources and stuff that you did, anything that you've come across in any other class, anything that you've come across as you've Googled things. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to kind of add stuff. How's that?
Okay.
I will say, when going through it, I realized, so I am a nursing student, and in the future, I could probably say it will be a lot better if I do work for the federal government as a nurse, and since I'll be given lots of benefits. So it is something I guess to take in a little bit, since I am a female, of course, and majority of the time nurses, are females. But just depending on, I might have to, take into consideration of where I see myself in the future, and I guess just take notes of where I work at and what's protected, what's not. And just be open-minded about all of it. But other than that, I don't know, we'll just have to see where that goes in the future.
Think about here's a good way to think about this. Go back to like three solutions. So you got Title IX, you've got the discrimination, you got the stuff, right? What are some ways that discrimination happens? What are some ways that could define like why discrimination happens? And how would these solutions kind of offset that?
Well, for Title IX, it gives someone a legal reason not to be discriminating. Um, with HR, you could lose your job if you do. Like if you go out and reach out to them, say that someone is discriminating against you, they either have a choice to stop or get fired, basically, because that's just not the right thing to do. And with outside mediation, it might cost some money to the company, but it is free for you to talk it out with the guilty party, you know?
Yeah, I think about the what was it I was watching, and it's not specifically like it doesn't always have to be specifically related to like queerness, right? In your example. So I was thinking about the other day, I was on the Disney Plus app, and in the like top, it like scrolls, like here are all the shows. And I go to my partner and I'm like, isn't that the guy that the lady called on for bird watching while black? And so this lady had called, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this lady had called the cops on this gentleman because he was black in a park essentially. And she was like, what's he doing? And all he was doing was bird watching. Well, now he has a show on National Geographic that's on Disney Plus. And so it gets kind of to the point of like, I don't want to say like who's on the right or wrong side of the law so much as we think about resilience, right? Do you remember in the book, and I don't remember what page specifically it is, but Juno was saying like draw this on A and B, like here's what a straight person is, here's what the words that are related to like bad words or whatever. And then right after, yeah, that right there. And then right after that, she's talking very specifically about how queer people had to be so resilient what's true of pretty much anybody who is othered, right? So you just have to have resiliency, and it's like playing a long game. But even like you'd mentioned that 303, I don't remember what the exact case name is right off the top of my head, but the 303 case that you mentioned earlier, Aiden. And the Supreme Court was like, no, you can discriminate. It's okay. You don't have to do it if it's against your religion. Because we're in this battle between freedom of speech and freedom of like being a human being, right? Essentially. What's fascinating to me about that case is there was really no standing, because it was discovered that the people that they were suing about didn't exist, and they were actually an old straight couple. So
Yeah.
there really was no standing that this case even started at, and it just kept going up and up and up, right?
Mhm.
And it's so those rights got overturned off of a fakeness, so off of a fake thing, off of it could be a potential client eventually, and there was really no standing, so it was surprising that the courts even took that. That's why things get up to the Supreme Court, by the way, because people just appeal. And then here you go, let's completely like make this a thing.
Yeah. I did read that the court case was actually just fake, and she just wanted to have the option to discriminate against them.
Yep. So there was actually no standing, was what that is, because there was nothing she was going against. But it just made it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Hmm.
And that's what we're fighting, right? That's very much anytime you think about oppression, privilege, and discrimination type of stuff, that's what we're fighting. That's that resiliency, that's that long game. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to add anything, Lindsay?
No.
No, not really.
No.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop recording